In Tapestry of Tales, Prafull Shiledar and Kavita Kané will discuss the trends, themes, and challenges for Marathi literature in conversation with Jerry Pinto. Prafull Shiledar is one of the most important contemporary Marathi poets. Kavita Kané lives in Pune and writes in English. Her main focus is on the forgotten women of mythology. In conversation with them is Sahitya Academy Award-winning author, poet, and translator, Jerry Pinto. May I invite our panelists onto stage and hand over the reins of the session to Jerry.
Okay, I'm down here for a moment because we are bringing Marathi to you. And what better way to experience another language for you to speak that language for just a minute. You've got to trust me on this. You've got to take steps with me and we will do a Tukaram bhajan together. Okay? I'll say the first few words and then you have to repeat them. After that, I'm going to tell you what they mean. Sit. Okay? All together, ready? Listen carefully. Amha ghari dhan. You can do better than that. You ate your luchis this morning. Amha ghari dhan. Shabdanchits ratne. Shabdanchits shastre. Shastre yatan karu. Come on, quickly. Better. Give it some of your stomach. Yatan karu. Well done. Shabdanchi amuchi jivanache jivana. Jivanache jivana. You're mumbling. Okay. Tukamane paha shabd hi deva. Shabdachi Gaurav Puja Karu. This is a lovely thing, a lovely piece of poetry for any writer. Because it starts by saying, in my house, there is no wealth but words. In my weapon, in my armory, there are no weapons but words. Words are the life of my life. Let me distribute these words among everybody. Tukaram says, words are God. Words are worthy of respect and worthy of worship. Isn't that lovely? Thank you so much. Take it away for Tukaram. And now we'll go up and chat for a bit and then we'll see how it shapes. We expected to have Shanta Gokhale with us, who is kind of like one of those large living monuments or legends of Marathi writing. But unfortunately, ill health prevented it. But she very kindly sent us a video instead. We'll play the video as an introduction. Oh, okay. Who? Okay. The video is on its way. So we'll start chatting and then we'll see the video a little later. It's worth waiting for. Is there steps on this side or are they only, there's one set of steps? Okay, can we start with Prafull, please? Prafull is a poet, and as we all know, in every language in India, poetry is kind of like the least commercial, the least publishable, the least read, the least sold, and yet there are more poets writing in every language than there are novelists, and there are many more poets waiting in the wings to be published. Prafull, take it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please come.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah. So, Jerry, please come on the stage. So, first let me thank Malvika ji and the organizers of Exide, Kolkata Literary Meet, because they have invited another regional language far away from here, Marathi, and there is a special focus on Marathi. This time, yesterday, there were wonderful singers like Ashwini Bide and the tabla maestro Pandit Suresh Tadwalkarji from Maharashtra. They came and they contributed to this festival. Today there is a special session on Marathi literature and also Marathi film and Marathi theatre. So I sincerely thank the organizers first. And regarding poetry, as you ask, see, I have been writing poetry since last more than 40 years. And poetry is not, for me particularly, it's not a habit or it's not a passion only, it's a compulsion. So whatever comes in my mind, whatever think, how I see the world, how I think about it, whatever input I give to my mind, it is reflected, it is crystallized in poetry in a different form. See, poetry is always different from prose, and there are some parameters, there are some criteria that makes poetry different from prose. So it's a multi-layered structure of language. It has capacity to transmit many meanings. Second thing, it has no single narration. It is a multi-narrated form of language. Secondly, if you get connected with the piece of poem, immediately you start resonating with those words. This, because if you read a novel, you read a story and you understand the story, you get involved, that's all. But in case of poetry, you have to go deep into the layers of the language. And particularly, Jerry, for me, there are two things. There are many incidences happening in our life. Whatever the geography, different kind of geography we see, different kind of nature we see, different kind of men we meet. And I'll just tell you one single example. For many years I was in Mumbai and I was daily commuting from Malad to Churchgate. Every day I was catching the local train. Mumbai local train is the only train in the world which has open doors. You won't find any local train with open doors running with thousands of people trying to get in a local bogie and they are just hanging. So every day I used to go to the Malad station and try to catch the local. One day I couldn't get in, but there were so many people just hanging on the door, hundreds of people. The local started moving. It took a pace, about say 80 kilometers per hour within few seconds. And suddenly, after the next bogie, one young guy, he just slipped. He couldn't hold himself. He couldn't hold any corner of that bogie, and he was caught between the moving train and the platform. And before my eyes, I could see a human being turning into just flesh and blood. Nobody could help him. The train went away. Within 3 minutes, before anyone could go down and help him or the authorities came, another train came. And he was just crushed. I just screamed and went out of the station. And for next month, I couldn't go on the same platform to catch the same local on the same station. I used to go one station ahead of that by any auto rickshaw like that. See, I just tell you a single incident. These are the incidences that are lying behind our mind. Behind our mind, there is a lot of scrap. You will see so many incidences, so many things, they are just lying there. And whenever you write a poetry, there are some trigger points. At that time, everything there is a confluence of so many things. Anything can emerge out of that scrap. There is a beautiful Marathi word which is used by Bhalchandra Nemade for his novel, Samruddha Adgar. बहुत समृद्ध कबाड़ हिंदी में कहेंगे. It's a rich scrap. So anything can come out and it can enter in the poetry, and so these, I just tell you a single incident. Same thing, I was working in a rural area of Maharashtra where there was orange plantation, and I used to move around that village, and I saw there were thousands of orange trees. The orange trees full of beautiful oranges. Means there were more oranges than leaves. Every day I used to go by bike and go for my work. Suddenly in night, there was a hailstorm. Next day when I came out, I saw whole oranges, they were mixed with mud, and there was not a single orange on the tree. See, I was not a farmer, but I know the pain what a farmer can have. He was having his hopes. He was having some planning about his family. Maybe his marriage of somebody from his family, or maybe he has to pay the debt, like that. But this image is there in my mind since so long, since 20 years, 25 years, and it comes up in the poetry. So these are the things, such things are there. And the second thing, Jerry, I would like to say that when you write poetry or any literature, I think you have to create your own language. There are alphabets and words and everywhere. Everyone is using language. But see, like a painter, suppose if you see a painting of Vasudev Gaitonde, you will see yellow. But it's not the yellow from the tube. The yellow is created by Gaitonde himself. If you see Raza Saab's painting, you will see blue, you will see green. But he has to create, means this is the first challenge before a painter to create a color and then to apply on the canvas. In the same way, a writer, maybe a poet or maybe a fiction writer, he has to create his own language.
So, and this language actually started 700 years ago. I remember Arvind Krishna Mehrotra telling me that a language claims its stake in the soil of India when it approaches the epics. That is, when you actually have a Mahabharata, Ramayana written in that language, or you have scripture written in that language, the language has made its stake. Marathis did this with Jnaneshwar, who wrote his work in 700 years ago. They were a family of four, and all four of them were saint poets. All four of them were magnificent. I've translated Muktabai myself, and she is absolutely wonderful in the way that she sort of looks clearly at the world around her. There's one poem which I love, which I will do right now. It's called Joy and Sorrow. First came joy, and on the morrow, hard on her heels, a visit from sorrow. Just as we settled down to grieving, sorrow announced that she was leaving. Joy and sorrow, what's the difference? Both are sisters, born of ignorance. Muktai tells Sangya, self-born, the soul, standing like a banyan, erect and whole. Thank you.
So nice, so nice.
Thank you very much. Kavita, tell us a little about your movement through Marathi, because you seem to have spent a Goan childhood in a Marathi-speaking neighborhood and inherited that as kind of like the amanat of the area. And
good morning, good afternoon, and I think I should thank Malvika for this unusual session about Marathi literature. Though I think I must confess that I am the least deserving person to be here because I do not write in Marathi. I write in English, and I think like most displaced families, English became one of our, the primary expression as a language of self-expression. So let me as he mentioned, the Goan, there was no Goan childhood. By the way, I am a Goan, born in Mumbai, lived in Patna and in Delhi. And then after, I think, 10 years of the erratic moving around, I think places like Chaibasa and Derion, so on in Bihar, my mother decided, okay, let me have some good education for my daughters. So I think she just sort of picked up Pune, and I think I admire her choice because Pune was the best place for us. And that's how I picked up Marathi. We spoke Marathi. My parents, my mother was studied Konkani in the Portuguese Konkani. She was from Madgaon. My father was a Goan, but he studied in Mumbai. So he was what they known as the Maharashtrian Goan. But he was in a Marathi medium school. So what I'm trying to say out here is that both of them, both my parents, tried their very best to make us very, not only comfortable with the language, there has to be a sense of pride. You know, in the sense you should value, like when he said Yaneshwar and Muktai. The whole thing is that at least if not, if I'm proud to say I can grasp a little because my parents introduced it a little to us. The problem is, I think it's very easy for a language to disappear in a family within one generation. And now as a mother of two girls, I feel that yes, because I'm not great in Konkani, they lost out on one language. Marathi, yes, we speak Marathi. But again, Marathi literature. Now, because if your language has to be very strong, your vocabulary has to be so strong, you have to be an extremely, you should master that language for you to write. And most important, to read. I did. My Marathi literature is very, very basic. I think I didn't go beyond Vapu Kalge and Ranjit Desai. My first book was Swami, by the way. So, but I think the Marathi part was, besides literature, what was inculcated was the theatre, Marathi theatre. Being in Pune, it helped a lot, of course. Marathi theatre, Marathi cinema, even Marathi music, you know, something like the Natya Sangeet, which is very particular about in most Maharashtrian families. So we grew up with that. So it became a sort of a matter-of-fact thing. And all I can do as a parent, I think, forget an author. I think as a parent, I do is try to hope my children imbibe that.
Prafull, as the editor of a magazine,
Yeah.
a literary magazine, you have a kind of bird's eye view of what's going on in Marathi literature. So would you just take us through that? And then we'll have the video that Shanta Gokhale sent us.
Okay. See, Jerry, I'm editing a journal which is 80 years old, and I'm editing it since last 8 years. It's called Yugwani. So it's a literary journal, basically. And and it's one of the most leading journal in Marathi now. So I come across all kinds of writing, the contemporary writing in Marathi, what writers are writing in Marathi. So I'll just give you some points. See, there is always not a specific or crystal clear answer that what is happening in Marathi literature, because many things are happening at many levels. Yeah, so I'll try to just put some dots before you. You have to connect and collect some dots from others also, because everyone is happy with whatever he is writing, but the editors are not happy. So I have to reject so many things. So let me tell you, there are the readers. The writer should not underestimate a reader, and he should have in his mind that the reader is much, much wiser than a writer, because world is not a big place now, it's a narrow lane now. You can just walk through the narrow lane, pick a book, any novel or poetry from any language, from any country. You have poetry from what is today being written by poets from Gaza. You have stories from Ukraine. You have Latin American novels. So everything is available to every reader now. So reader is wiser than a writer. So this a writer should keep in his mind, and he should develop a world view. So coming to the point, what is latest happening in Marathi literature, I would like to say that there are some very fine short story writers in Marathi right now who are writing with this worldview, and they have chiseled their own language also very softly. So these are the I don't know when it will come into English and reach to you. There are some very good novelists also who are writing novels. Then there are, as you know, Marathi literature is also known for Dalit autobiographies. Some of you, some of the major work is translated by Jerry himself. I will request him to tell about that. But latest there are 3 biographies I would like to mention here. One is by a painter. Kaya Niya Resha means black and blue lines. He is a painter, but in his early age. This is just happening within last 5 years, not much long. See, he was a painter, but he spent his childhood by pulling the dead animals from a village. Means the duty given to his caste was whenever there is an animal dead, you just pull it. And death of an animal was a celebration for him because they used to eat the meat of a dead animal. So from this community, slowly, then he started a band party. So it was a band for marriages or for death or like that. Then he started learning, educating himself, and then subsequently he became a teacher, and now he is one of the renowned painters. And you can find all these things, the traces of his childhood in that. And secondly, he has changed the way of narrating the autobiography, because this autobiography contains about 30 characterizations. There are no incidences specific like that. He just writing about the characters that came into his life. I'll just tell you one character. It is called a Doodh Mai. Doodh Mai. Doodh means milk. Mai means mother. Milk mother. I don't know whether this concept must be there in all areas of. Suppose there is no enough milk to the mother of a child, then another woman who is having milk, she shares milk with the child of another woman. So Mai means mother. Doodh Mai means a mother who fed that children. So he has written that child. So he has written a very beautiful character sketch of her Doodh Mai, like that. Second autobiography is by Sharad Baviskar Bhura. So he was a person from Khandesh area. He used to clean even he has worked for cleaning the trucks and traffic on a traffic dhaba. But he became a scholar of French philosophy and is one of the most acknowledged and respected intellectual from Marathi world. He is a professor in JNU now. The third autobiography is by Shanta Gokhale herself. It is also wonderful autobiography. So these are the things that are happening. Secondly, there is writing by other sectors also, like even you can see writing from LGBTQ community. I think first of the book was by Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi. She is Mahamandaleshwar of one sect of the Hijras, and she has written her autobiography. How a boy named Raju converted into Lakshmi, and she later on she became leader of the community. So this, and there are poets also like Disha Pinky Sheikh who are writing on with this sensibility. There are novels also. So this is there. One more thing I would like to see regarding Dalit literature also. There is a different kind of book recently published on Dalit kitchen. Usually we say Anna hai Purna Brahma. Means Anna, the food that we eat is a Purna Brahma, but the title of the book is Anna Hai Apurna Brahma. It's not because we have created our recipes not because of abundance, but because of scarcity. So this is a different kind of book, and that is being acknowledged here. And one more thing I would like to say that there are so many translations happening in Marathi from many languages. So Marathi that way is a receptive language. But of course, it's not that much transmitting enough from Marathi to other languages. And some of Jerry is one of the major translators from Marathi to English, and of course Shanta and Maya Pandit, and there are so many beautiful translators who are doing this thing. So Marathi is getting richer and richer, but of course there is a threat to all languages that I think we should discuss.
Which we can discuss after we play the video by that Shanta Gokhale has kindly sent us.
I wish I was there this afternoon to discuss Marathi literature with my co-panelist and friend Jerry Pinto. Unfortunately, I am in a corner of my room recording this video. To come quickly to the point, I'll head straight to what's been happening in Marathi literary fiction in the last 2 decades. My first instinct is to look at women writers. Many of them continue to delve into family relationships, man-woman relationships, love and romance, the generation gap, old age, loneliness, etc. But now, with a consciousness of the human woman living inside the gendered woman's shell. It is no great surprise that one of the most critically and popularly acclaimed books of the 1980s was Nirmala Deshpande's slim novella, Tikli Evda Tad, a dot-sized pond. The title assured the reader that although the protagonist of the novel had a functioning heart and mind, and even admitted to feeling desire, she knew her place in the world. Her little pond wasn't challenging the ocean. Gauri Deshpande, no relation of Nirmala's, dominated the late 1900s. She stood at the opposite end from Nirmala Deshpande's fiction. Her stories and novellas were the work of an already liberated woman. It left readers in awe of her. Such a life of love, travel, equality, self-assurance, and the freedom to hold and express unconventional views too was possible. Meghna Pethe arrived on the scene in 2000 with a powerful short story collection followed by a novel, Nati Charani, which posed radical questions about the relevance of the institution of marriage itself in the present age. Her prose drew on a variety of registers from street slang to poetic metaphor. Her novel delighted many readers but shocked some for having crossed every Lakshman Rekha of language, theme, and worldview that had ever been drawn for women writers. Alongside Meghna came Kavita Mahajan, who received huge critical acclaim for her novels Bra and Bhinna. The first stepped out of the home and into the political field of Panchayati Raj. The second entered the lives of AIDS-affected people. Although Mahajan's creative lens was focused on the shaping of humans and human destiny by politics, economics, and society, rather than by family tradition and psychology, her considerable narrative skill and the fact that she was also a poet belied the expectation that her work might be too dry for the reader. Sadly, we lost her in 2018. In 2005, a young writer, Shilpa Kamble, brought a new, sophisticated voice into Dalit literature. Her innovatively structured novel, Nirya Doranchi Mulgi, The Girl with Blue Eyes, Blew Our Minds. It was the story of Ulka Tarke, who grows up to understand what it means to be Dalit and a woman. But she manages to come through on top with the support of a strongly developed Ambedkarite consciousness. Kamble wrote in a flexible prose spiked with spontaneous wit, representing the next step after the fiction of established writers like Urmila Pawar and Pradnyadaya Pawar. I will come now to male writers. Till the end of the 1950s, writing had been mainly the preserve of the upper castes, save exceptions like Annabhau Sathe and Narayan Surve. Literary prose was Sanskritized and ornamental. Two writers of the 1960s broke through those linguistic shackles. Uddhav Sherke, who wrote his semi-autobiographical novel Dhag in Varadi, the dialect of his home district, Amravati, and Bhaupadhyay, who brought Mumbai street lingo into literature. Padhe's first novel, Vasu Naka, offended the squeamish reader deeply. Even Vijay Tendulkar, whose own play Gidhare was later to have trouble with the censor board for its supposedly obscene language, described Padhe's prose as being full of outlandish words, strange coinages, and sometimes downright filthy language. The lingo came directly from Vasunaka, Padhe's fictional space representing Mumbai's many street corners where empty-minded, underemployed young men with no goal in life gathered to do the only thing they were equipped to do: bunkers, fooling around. In the 1970s and 80s, a series of autobiographies by writers like Daya Pawar, Lakshman Gaikwad, Sharan Kumar Limbare from the scheduled castes and tribes made further inroads into literary Marathi and also brought the Hatman qualities from the outskirts of villages into blazing urban light. Before this revolution, Venkatesh Madgurkar had quietly taken the novel out of Mumbai and Pune, its home grounds, into the fields and jungles of rustic Mandesh in Maharashtra's Satara district. I would like to propose that Venkatesh Madgurkar, Bhaupadhyay, and the Dalit autobiographers form the ancestry of many of today's prominent young writers, along with a long tradition of middle class writing about the middle class. Some of the several critically admired new voices belong to Prashant Bagar, Sachin Kundalkar, Krishnath Khot, Kiran Gurav, Pranav Sakhdev, and Pradeep Kokre. There are, of course, dozens more who should be on the list, but if I included them, I'd be holding forth for the rest of this day. The three I have chosen to speak about briefly have all won Sahitya Academy Awards recently. Sakdev's novel, Kale Korde Strokes, concerns itself with today's fragmented youth lost in the post-globalization world. Despite the external glitter of goods and gadgets, their inner lives are chaotic and shadowed by the black and grey strokes of the novel's title. Pradeep Kokre writes in the language of Mumbai's Jhopadpattis. His protagonist is a youth desperately seeking a way out of the underprivilege into which he was born. It is a snappy novella written during a one-year writing grant. Kiran Gurav writes of the transition between village and city. Since the names of these writers cannot be more than just sounds to you, I thought I should translate something from at least one of their works to give you an idea of what they sound like. Here is the second paragraph from one of Kiran Gurav's stories with an unwieldy title, Indulkar चरित्र काळ आणि निर्मिती यांची अन्वेषण कथा. Indulkar, an investigation into his character, times, and creative work. So, I translate. The point I'm making is that Indulkar's day is divided into roughly 8 segments. There's the office, then home and family, and sleep, the requisite for life. On holidays, of course, the whole office chapter goes missing from his biography. It enters Indulkar's memory occasionally only, like a text message arriving with a beep. When Indulkar is out of town on work, it is the turn of home and family to pass through his memory like a puff of breeze. But then there are loving phone calls from family members. Where are you now? Have you eaten? What did you eat? Did some food get stuck in your teeth? All this untidy paraphernalia over the phone. It might strike people as irrelevant, but Indulkar's story has only just been born. It is inevitable that this mess should accompany it, like the umbilical cord and other birth stuff that comes out with a newborn baby. The surefire solution to the problem, or rather, the surefire compulsion, is to keep inching forward in the story as you would in a queue. Thank you.
How much time do we have left? Okay. I thought what we'd do is just talk a little about translation. Everywhere in the country, I think what is happening is that the translation is happening across in one direction, which is from the language into English. So the English pool gets richer and richer, and the language pools, suffer a little because they're contributing to the English sphere, but not receiving contributions back. And we also have a problem or a paucity of interlanguage translations, which means the word for novel in Marathi is Kadambari. And Kadambari actually is one of Tagore's novels. It came to Marathi, it was translated into Marathi, and it became so popular that it lent its name to the common noun for the novel. That was in the glory days when authors and writers who were trying to build the nation were actually doing this work, translating for each other in order to widen and deepen our knowledge of each other. All of us would like to thank Malvika and the team here for actually turning the spotlight on another language. We'd like to thank you for coming and listening, because that's invaluable as well. As Prafull said at the beginning, the reader makes the writer. Without the writer is simply someone who has lost voice into the void. And I'd ask you all to do a quick check. Just check how many books you read in translation. How many of those were in a language that was not from India? Because generally when we are reading translations, it's Korean, or it is Japanese, or it is French, or it is German. It's very rare that we are reading Ahomiya translations, or we are reading Maghi translations, or Varhadi translations. I want you all to think a little about keeping your mind open to the new sounds and the new ideas and the new emotions that are in novels and in work in other languages. Thank you all very much for being an attentive audience. We're all going to be around here, and if you have any questions for us, please feel free to come up and chat. Thank you so much.
There's just one thing I wanted to say about translations. What he said was very correct. From the regional language to English, the English pool is getting richer. My books have been translated into Marathi, but out of the 9, only 4 have been translated. The whole problem is no one is, I don't know, I think there are more translating happening from the regional to English rather than from English to, because I would also like my readers, it should percolate to every state. Because the topic is such, I mean, here again...
The same problem that, very simply, reading itself is a minority occupation in the world. Reading in translation, reading translations is a minority of a minority. So that means that most people, when they go into a bookshop, would prefer to buy a book written in English, preferably by a white man, preferably from the bestseller list, rather than reading a book by a Shiledar or a Pinto written in another language. I'm asking you, therefore, to be open to the idea that there is much wealth trapped inside this country, but it is unused wealth if it is not read.
One more thing, Jerry, I would also like to point out that there is a hidden or invisible power politics between languages that we don't look into. Because every language has some weightage. I will not go into deep and detail and describe the whole thing, but so the flow is from a low weight language to higher weight language because of maybe because of aspirations, or maybe because of the writers or readers' demand, or like that. But it's very difficult that translations from literature from low weight language to high weight language is very difficult now. So suppose some literature is to be translated from Marathi into English or Marathi into Hindi. Yes, Hindi is having a little bit higher weight. So a Hindi person or Hindi translator will not translate from Marathi to Hindi. He will try to translate from English to Hindi. or from world literature to Hindi. So this is the viewpoint, and this is happening knowingly or unknowingly, but we should be very much look into this problem, this situation. Yeah.
Thank you all very much once again.